Gemini friends, I'm Annie Botticelli. Welcome to my December 2019 horoscope report for you. This month we have the planets continuing to move through Sagittarius, which are making oppositions to your Gemini placements. We'll talk all about what that means and what you can expect. We'll talk about what areas of life you can expect to be accentuated as personal planets move these into the forefront of your experience. We also have that full moon in Gemini, so we're going to talk about those specifics, what you can expect from that, and also which of you in the sign may be most affected by that. I'm going to show you the charts as usual to drill down and get really specific. And we've got a lot of other things to talk about this month. We have eclipses, eclipse energy coming in, the first eclipses this month. We have this major open window of moving forward. So there are three main things to discuss regarding the month of December that are in the general transit arena, meaning they're true for everyone, but we need to cover this first in order to make the things I tell you about the Gemini specific information more pertinent. So I'm going to do just a very quick overview of the three top things to know about December, and then we'll talk about how they relate to the things that I'm going to talk about for Gemini specific. Okay, so I'm going to give you this quick overview of the general energy of December 2019, and it's really critical to understand this before we start putting in the pieces for your sign, because it will flavor the whole month, and everything that we talk about that's specific for you is going to have these three big pieces that are just overlaying everything. Okay, so there are three main things to know about December 2019. The first is that we have way more sweet aspects than salty ones. This happened also in November. It definitely flavors the month when there are more sweet aspects than challenging ones. You know, your individual chart could vary because you could have a challenging time going on in your chart, and then the general horoscopes could be like super sweet, and you could be like, well, the horoscopes are wrong, and they're not. The general horoscopes, your personal charts, are all individual pieces of a very complex total picture. But just talking about the general transits, there's definitely more sweetness this month than there is salty stuff going on. And I will give you the dates for those sweet and salty aspects. Big thing to know about this month, time to get it done. December 9th is when the post-Mercury retrograde transit, Mercury went direct on November 20th, but every day after November 20th until December 9th was this kind of Mercury waking up, changing directions. I kind of see this as like making a U-turn. You know, if you're going one direction, you have to slow down, come to a stop, make the turn, go speed up again. Okay, so this period of time between November 20th and December 9th is like coming back up to speed. All right, but from December 9th through February 2nd is the last major open window of all of 2020. 2020 is a year that is entrenched with inward and backward energy from personal planet retrogrades. Mercury, Venus, Mars, all going to be going retrograde. Mercury will be going retrograde 3 times as usual. And this is just going to be a very internal, with themes from the past type of year. So your time to like push things out in a big way is December and January, and you've got awesome aspects this month to do it. There's a massive Capricorn influence, which is also helpful here because there are just so many planets in Capricorn, outer planets, the ones furthest from us, inner planets, the ones closest to us. So it's a time to strategize, get things done, get organized, make plans, you know, just like really take the bull by the horns and to do things. There's also the Sagittarius influence, which is going to make a dizzying, busy, you know, all over the place, spiral, spinning out, exuberant type of energy, which is really nice as a counterbalance to this very serious Capricorn energy. So we do have those Sag influences, and those are going to be coming in a big way, bringing some lightheartedness and optimism and fun to this otherwise very, you know, focused time. The third thing to know is that the eclipse energies are really, really happening now. Okay, I've been talking about these for months before they actually happened, because they can actually show up as major manifestations in months before they happen. But this month we have the December eclipse, which is December 25th or 26th, depending on your time zone. But the whole month, you know, and before December even and after December, major changes. So to see how this is going to affect your sign, very specifically with great detail, watch my November report for your sign. Okay, because in there I talk about all of the details of exactly where you are on the spectrum for your sign, and how that will manifest for you. I did a whole separate video series, a whole 12-set separate video series for the January eclipses. So look for that, look for your sign, lunar eclipse 2020, Annie Botticelli, and you will find these very detailed storylines of how you are very likely going to experience those eclipses, what areas of life are going to be highlighted for you. Okay, now the last thing I want to do here before we get into more specifics with your sign has to do with the sweet and salty dates. Okay, so the sweet aspects, 2nd, 3rd, 8th, 10th, 13th, 10th, 11th, 13th, 15th, 19th, 21st, 22nd, 24th, 26th, and 27th. And I've got them written down here. Okay, the salty ones, 8th, 11th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, and 26th. You'll notice some of these are in common. So there are many days this month that there are sweet and salty aspects on the same days. Okay, so you can either, try to align your things with the days that don't have those same things going on, or you can just feel your way through. An aspect happens on a certain day, but our timeline for how we can experience it can be days before or days after. So you just have to kind of feel your way through. If you're like planning a big launch and you're having a crappy day and it's just not, things aren't flowing, maybe wait until everything feels like, okay, 1, 2, 3, now sync up. It's really important for you to learn to feel these rhythms for yourself. I teach you this and give you guidelines, but you're feeling your way through is my main goal. Okay, so those are the aspects to note. Now let's look at these juicy details about how your sign specific energies are going to show up. Okay, so now that you see into more detail what's going on, how rich of a month it is, as we have all these layers happening. I've also, directed you to where you can see more about some of the things that are happening this month. It's a big month. And now we can look at the Gemini specific placements. Okay, so in order to best use the information I'm going to give you, we have to know where in the Gemini spectrum you are. Many of the things I talk about are going to be true for all Geminis. But there are going to be things that are different depending on where in the spectrum you are. So early Geminis are basically May born or 0 to 9 degrees, middle around June 1st through June 10th or 10 to 19 degrees, and late around June 11th through the rest of the sign or 20 to 29 degrees. If you have a Gemini moon or Gemini rising, this report is for you equally as for the sun placements. The sun chart, the moon chart, the rising chart are all pictures out of the experience of the, that give layers of the total astrological experience, and they're all true at the same time. Okay, so the first thing, let's talk about this Gemini full moon. Okay, so when we have a moon event in our sign, I'm not a Gemini, but I mean just in general, well, I'm a Sag, so I have a moon event in my sign this month as well, but but in any case, the Gemini full moon is going to be meaningful for everybody, but it will take on extra significance for people with placements in that that sign. So December 12th could be a little bit before or after, depending on your time zone. That's going to occur, and that's going to be at 19 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so full moons bring fruition, completion, manifestation. They can bring drama. They bring things out from the darkness into the light. So in the days around December 12th, look for all of this to happen. I always like to schedule a little time, if possible, around the full moon. The full moon I always imagine is, like a dog shaking off from the water. Water energy represents emotion, and the full moon, can be really emotional, for better or worse. So it's like where it builds up, this energy builds up in your fields, the whole moon cycle, and then at the full moon you shake it off, through crying, through playing, through laughing, through, drama, whatever it is, it gets shaken off. So, you can expect some intensity there. And that's going to be true for all Gemini placements. But the closer you are to 19 degrees, then the more powerful. And so really from 15 to 24 degrees, if you have your placements between there, and that would equate to about around June 5th through 15th. Okay, so if your birthday is in there or your placements are between 15 and 24, the closer to 19, this full moon is going to be more impactful for you, more meaning, more notable effects. Since Gemini rules transportation, communication, a major communication, topic coming up, something about having to get a new phone or a new computer or a new car, either having to or wanting to. And this is actually an amazing time to do that. So maybe you've been saving up, maybe you've been manifesting. So maybe your device or car or whatever it is can come through in the days around here that could possibly happen. Also, transportation, so like traveling. So a major trip, you could be traveling. And in general, this would be a really great time for travel. So sometimes it manifests that way. And sometimes there's something meaningful having to do with a brother or sister or cousin or aunt or uncle. Basically, relatives that aren't your parents or kids are in this, Gemini energy. So you might see something notable occur. You might get some news, or you might have a notable interaction or opportunity with one of those people in your life. Okay, so now that we have that covered, let's talk about some other things here. All right, so I'm going to show you the places where things are the same and where the places where there's going to be some differences. First, let me give you a little background. I'm using the early chart, but I'm talking about points for all Gemini placements until I otherwise specify, okay? When we're looking at the monthly horoscopes, we look at the personal planets, Mars, Mercury, the Sun, Venus, because those are the ones that move more quickly. These other friends there, they take longer to move, and they're usually pretty close to the same places they were in the month before. So sometimes there's a mention made, and I will often talk about an outer planet or something happening that's relevant. But to see what's different each month, these personal planets are where we look. And so they all have a different energy to them, and depending on the sign they're in, they are in a different mood. And then depending on the house they're in, okay, all these pie pieces here, these are fields of experience we have as humans. They're topics of life, areas of life, and we all have all of them. And when the planets, the personal planets or any planets, move through those fields of experience, it brings them into the forefront. Okay, it brings energy, it brings life, it brings vitality, it brings notable occurrences, it brings opportunities, it brings, challenges, solutions. So let's first look to see what houses are accentuated for each. Okay, so you can see the early has the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'll get back and tell you what all of this means in a second. I just want to get everybody on the board here. All right, so if we're following those personal planets, again, we can see 6th, 7th, or 5th, or no, that's 6th, right? 6th, 7th, but that's about to go in the 8th. Okay, so for the middle, it's really the same. And then for the late degree placements, usually there's a little bit of a difference there. You all at the end of the sign take a little bit longer for the transits to get to where they're going, okay? So your 8th house is not being accentuated yet, but your 7th house is like everyone else, and the 6th house like everyone else, but you also have the 5th house, okay? So we've got 5th, 6th, and 7th for the late degree placements. So what does that mean? Right? First of all, referring back to what I talked about with the general astrology, this is a time for doing things, for making decisions, for taking action, for having changes come. Definitely check out the November report for Gemini from me for seeing all of exactly where this eclipse in December is going to hit for you. I talked about it in November because we often feel these things early. Then I did a separate series, so look for the Gemini effects for the January eclipse, and that's in a separate video because there's just so much information. So we have that going on, and that can flavor the activity that's in these fields of experience. So every Gemini placement has this 7th house, so early, middle, and late, and this is partnerships. Now you late degree friends, you also, you early and middle, you also have 8th, that's the other partnership house. So in general, for all Gemini placements, partnerships, how you relate to people, your relationship to relationship, notable interactions are really coming up. When the 7th house is accentuated as it is for every Gemini, it's a time to be finding the perfect help, to be, serving your clients, fine-tuning your client base, fine-tuning your relationships, solving problems where there wasn't a chord. So conflicts could come up, but solutions could also come up, finding perfect practitioners, finding perfect workers or somebody to help you. So that's going to be, you know, the spirit of cooperation. One of the best ways to use this energy is to focus on the spirit of cooperation. Okay? The other thing to note about this month has to do with the using of the external as a reflector of the internal. Okay, because the 7th and 8th houses are, you know, where the people in our lives who seem like they're doing something to us with what they're doing kind of reflect to us the state of our inner being. So, you know, noticing the patterns around you, notice the things coming up for better or worse, noticing, you know, what still has to be done. This is a really good way to use this energy. And if a decision has to be made about a relationship, this is a really good time to do it because the stars are very clear. They haven't been this clear for a little bit. And they're not going to be this clear for, you know, a while. December and January is our big time where we can kind of do these things. And the eclipses are perfect times to have life-changing things go on. So some of these things might happen against your, you know, say or control, but some of them might be you have an opportunity and you choose to accept it. Everyone in the sign also has the 6th house accentuated. Okay, so that makes it a really great time to pay attention to your physical body. Early, middle, and late degree placements. Okay, so your health, your diet, starting a new diet, starting a new exercise regimen, getting on new supplements, working with an alternative practitioner. Your luck for finding a perfect practitioner is really coming from multiple places now. So trying different things on, committing to long-term plans, therapy. This can also be great for labs or diagnostics. Okay, so the energy is clear compared to other times. So trying to get an accurate diagnostic could be good now. Surgeries. Now, choosing a date for surgeries is way more complicated than I can thoroughly speak to in a general report. But in general, because we're not dealing with the retrogrades, this could be a time where it flows for surgeries that are optional or necessary. Of course, if something's necessary, you have to do it whenever it's necessary, but there's less static in the field around this time. Okay, so things having to do with getting organized, clearing clutter, getting your systems down, you know, getting a different routine or a new routine or updating or upgrading. Also, excuse me. Also things involving pets. It's an amazing time to get a new pet, to have a friend for the holiday, or to do something notable with pets. Pets come up in a big way with the 6th house focus. So expect to have that showing up. It's good to get focused on your health. Start your New Year's resolutions a month early. Commit to some inner work to help your resolutions stick this time. And so that's exciting. Okay, so the early and middle degree placements. So again, just a reminder, the early are the May born or 0 to 9 degrees. The middle are around June 1st through 10th. So basically, May born through around June 10th and 0 through 19 degrees are going to have the 8th house accentuated. Now, you late friends who aren't included in this yet, still pay attention because this is coming for you. It's just going to be a little bit staggered by some weeks. So into January, you'll start feeling this too. Okay, so the 8th house has to do with other people's money is what it's called. Okay, so, you know, spousal money, inheritances, family money, corporations, you know, where you're in stocks, investments are highlighted. So looking into investments, trying to pack money away before, you know, for a tax deduction for the end of the year, like those kind of things, doing an investment review, doing wills, planning wills, doing stuff for legacy planning. Again, this is a pretty clear time for things like that. And you might naturally find, you know, when these planets are moving through these houses, you often just naturally find yourself focusing on this. But if you're not naturally finding yourself doing it and you've had to do it, it's on your list, this is a good time to deal with that. Okay, so winning money. Sometimes people win money when their 8th house is accentuated. So if you're feeling lucky, you could win a little money. You know, don't be reasonable, take calculated risk, but sometimes money comes in there. Borrowing money. So selling something of value, buying something of value, getting student loans. This is an amazing time for an application process, or an application that you put through may come through now. Getting money of any kind, capital money, anything. 8th house is great for that. This is also the house of intimacy from a romantic standpoint. So there could be notable occurrences there, or you could clear blocks or have breakthroughs, or you could meet somebody. This, the sector of meeting people in the romantic or business or any other important relationship, I call them POCs, people of consequence. Your people of consequence houses are very fully lit up. Even those of you in the late degree spectrum because of that 7th house, but people of consequence could come in a big way. And since the energies are clear for new things, someone out of the blue could come of great importance, or people can come from the past that have some importance. The 8th house also has to do with psychology and parapsychology, and even astrology is in there. Palmistry, all of these esoteric studies, the mysteries. So you might find something notable along those fronts. Or it might just be a time to go deeper, to understand what makes people tick. It's like one of the houses of understanding what makes people tick. That's why all those tools are in there. And also mysteries. You might just find yourself hot on a mystery, like a book, or something else like that. Okay, so for you late degree friends, so again, just a reminder who you are. You're around June 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. You still have your 5th house accentuated. Now, you early and middle, you will have had this already in November. So if you're listening to this in November, this is current for you. But the 5th house has to do with romance. Okay, so when we talked about romance kind of in the 8th house, that's like deep, intimate relationship. But like the fun, dating, like the energy of romance is in the 5th house as well. So there could be notable things there. So if you're looking for somebody, again, you're having this energy in multiple places, especially, well, I guess late has it in the 5th and middle and early have it in the 8th. So it's coming from somewhere for all y'all. And that could just be more spice to your current relationship, or finding time to spend time together, things like that. And it would be a good time to purposely use it for that. Things involving children, conception, child rearing, trying to get ready to have a baby, or focusing on kids. There's a big focus there for you late degree friends. And creative babies. If you are trying to have a launch, that's a little baby. If you're trying to have a launch of your creative baby, this is one of the best months of this whole year, 2019, and one of the best months of 2020, even though we're not even in 2020. So for the next 13 months, December is one of the favored months for really getting your big, get your baby to grow up and launch them, get them out of the nest. So anything like that could be relevant for you all. Okay, so in general, now let's just look back at some of the things going on here. Okay, we'll use the late degree chart, but again, I'm talking about stuff for all of you. As the planets continue to move through Sag, Mercury will get there, Mars will eventually get there, they make oppositions with your Gemini placements. And oppositions are like where you're being pulled in 2 different directions. They blend really harmoniously. Like if you're a Gemini and you have friends that are Sages, this happens a lot. I have a ton of Gemini friends and I'm a Sag. It's like you get excited and then you talk so much and then you exhaust yourself. It's that kind of energy where it's like it burns so bright and it's so compatible, and then you get tired. So you have to guard your health, guard your respiratory system. Gemini rules the respiratory system, because with these oppositions, and this started in November as the personal planets started to move through Sagittarius, those oppositions can really have you burning both ends of the candle. So you just want to be extra careful, with your sleep and with your supplements and things like that, and just know that you're going to be overstimulated. So try to keep your daily meditation practice or whatever else you got going on there in order to be able to hold everything in place. There are some energies still with Scorpio moving through. That's going to be mostly earlier in the month, and again, this is true for everybody. And this makes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so remember there's 360 degrees in a circle. There's the 12 zodiac signs in the circle, 30 degrees in each sign. So if something is 5 signs apart, 5 times 30 is 150. Astrology is a science, and the science is based in math. 150-degree angles are awkward. So as planets move through Scorpio, that is not comfortable for Geminis. And this has been going since October, November, and now into December, early December. We still have a little bit of that lingering kind of emotional focus on the inner world, that is not as comfortable for the Gemini energy. So you've got a little bit more awkwardness there. Then the Capricorn energies, as the planets move in there, also does the same thing. Okay, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. again with the 150-degree angle. So even though there's this like nice harmony with the Sag, it will be overstimulating, and then you've got these double 150-degree angles, and they are really awkward. So having to take diffuse ideas or make commitments or get things done or follow through may be a little bit difficult at this time. You may be distracted, you may be ungrounded, but the energies are calling for you to do this, to get focused and to pull things through. And part of it is because the planets are moving through these, placements, but also part of it energetically is this storyline of like, get your big stuff done in December and January before this wall of retrogrades start in February. If there's something that you were supposed to be doing, you've been kind of dragging your butt, if it really feels like it's something that's going to want to come out over the next year, this is a really important time to make headway. And it goes a little bit against the natural way of the Gemini energy. Gemini energy goes in a spiral, and so it's kind of, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, right? And I understand that because I'm a Sag, and Sag's energy go in a spiral as well. So once these earth planets, and then the emotional stuff, it's kind of like, okay, we have to focus on the emotion, get out of the thought process, take it into action, focus on the feeling, focus on the action. So that's going to be the best way to use that energy. And again, that's for all Gemini placements. But overall, I think a very exciting month because all of this energy in Capricorn really helps to ground the unruly Sag and Gemini energy. So I really am pleased about the lineup here, because usually this time of year, Gemini and Sagittarius, you'll really just get whacked out because of the excess of these, Gemini-Sag connections. But when you have the energy sort of being watered down, like it's, like a bucket is kind of around there putting out any excess fire that the Gemini, is fanning, and then the Capricorn is just really helping you to ground and to stay focused and to manifest your dreams. That's what I see this energy is really good for, is just really being able to do something with all those amazing ideas that you have, getting organized and getting a strategy. Okay, that's one of the big messages for you right now. So definitely go to my website, AnnieHelpsYou.com, so that you can sign up for my free email newsletter. And when you do, you will get, remember those dates I gave you, the sweet ones and the salty ones? Well, I give a write-up for my email list, special for them, every month, a month early, all the sweet dates, all the salty dates, what aspects they are, what planets are involved, what signs are involved, and what you can expect from those combinations, plus a little general overview written of the month. You get that delivered to your inbox every month, a month early, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com and sign up for my free email newsletter. It will look like this. And you will also get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up there, plus other free goodies. If you love how I teach and you want to learn, I'm an astrology teacher. That is my main focus. You at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Besides seeing a massive amount of astrology and other blogs on that site, you can see my astrology apprenticeship program. And if you want to learn how to be an astrologer and make money doing that, I can teach you how to do that. I have people often coming out of my course, even before the course is done, already earning money as an astrologer. So massively comprehensive. If you think my videos are detailed, you should see my astrology apprenticeship program. So you can see that at AnnieHelpsYou.com. And for written horoscopes by me, a month early, and lifestyle blogs, including an astrology for wellness blog that is massively, again, comprehensive, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And these links that I'm giving you are all in the notes underneath the video. So if you click on more, then it will be there and you can just link straight through. cozybysweetstarlight.com. It's such a beautiful site. Just go there even just to see how pretty it is. And the last thing, get my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, with amazing, powerful, radical prayers, mantras, affirmations that will help you claim the life of your dreams. You can get that on Amazon. You can search for Radical Prayer Annie and you'll find it, or you can go to radicalprayerbook.com. It's an amazing handbook for my fellow spiritual seekers. My husband, B.R. Newman, also has all kinds of goodies, offerings, new things all the time at his website, IamHelios.com, IamHelios.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!